Hello, once again, I'm BR Schultz, SP 500. Thank you for joining me for yet another stock market timing episode. Is it possible that 7 times 7 equals 49? And could this be a epic episode? Why do I say that? Because I've developed what I call the Einstein's advanced geometric timing theorem, as well as pricing targets, all in what? The last 2-3 months. By the Lord Jesus' grace. I'm projecting that there will be a macro bottom in the stock market on October 27th, very roughly, at a low of 6,000. And it should not go far beyond October 27th, okay? Reasonably close, so plus or minus a day, business day. And I'll show you why. I don't think it can be like into mid-November, let's say. It needs to be very close to where I'm projecting. I'll show you why here in a second. And then I'll also show you why I believe that the market could hit 6,000. At least in the futures, right? So the futures went lower after the close on October 10th, right? Went another 50, 60 points down. So in theory, you may think you got a great deal at the end of the day on October 27th. Let's say you buy on October 27th, we're at 61.50 or something. And after, when futures finally close, we're down at 6,000. So it has requirements. I believe it has to tag. If you remember from my blog, I believe the very early morning of October 10th, I said that the shortest or most conservative target I had in the model, or in the timing model, was 6,500. That's exactly where the futures hit at the end of the day on the futures market. So again, pricing could slip even after hours on October 27th. Depends on how bad things get, or even that the futures start up an hour, after they close on the same day. So in theory, the candle for the 28th still trades on the day of the 27th, right? So you still could have some massive slippage even in the early hours of the 28th, right? Because it really doesn't cross over until midnight. So you still have 5-6 hours of trading of the next day's future on the 27th. So be aware of that, because there could be some massive slippage after hours, and then like 2 in the morning on the 28th, it could all reverse. So I'm trying to just lay out the worst case scenario. Okay, so if we do see some type of massive collapse into the 27th, I want to cover all my bases. So again, that's the worst case scenario. And let's move on to the Einstein model as well as the pricing targets. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, so this is what I call the Einstein's advanced geometric timing system, timing theorem. So essentially what I've discovered is that when you have this insane amount of hits on a trend line in the model, going up to the top of the graph, it creates some type of highly volatile situation at the very end of its termination. And so you drop a line straight down. That's how you get to roughly the 1027 on the graph you see. And then you have a secondary trend that was present in 1987, present in March of 2020, present in April of 2025. You can look at my blog at BR Schultz Gold Wave. It's a WordPress site. If you Google it, you'll find it. I have 1987, 2020, April of 2025 all mapped out for you. But essentially, you see this pattern where you see a high and a low type of trend. And so that's why I call it the advanced geometry take on this model. It's my Einstein model because I think it's extremely smart, obviously, with the name. And so I think there's a chance of high volatility, right, of the VIX hitting some explosive number on October 27th. Again, futures could slip even after hours on 27th. You could have the 28th futures open up at the end of day or the night of to the 27th and still be selling off. My target low for the futures is 6,000, and I'll show you why that is in a second. But this is how I get to this. It's kind of like a casino, right? You need all the wheels to lock into place 7777777 to hit the jackpot, right? So that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing this high distribution of hits on this trend line. And so the first 3 points are interesting, but what really takes the cake is the 7, 8, 9, 10 right there. You're seeing, without that, it wouldn't be much of anything. But with that point, the hit rate goes up tremendously. And that little 7, 8, 9, 10, in theory, because my eyes are only so good, I'm not a computer, it could be an infinite amount of hits, right? If the trend line's actually laying over the top of the other graph for a length of time, the hits are infinite, right? Because a line laying over another line are infinite hits. You know, it depends on how small you break up the pieces of the graph. So anyways, you see this double angle, this advanced geometric shape for market crashes. Again, you saw it in 1987. So the 1987 set up so that it actually picked the middle of December. So that was actually the best time to buy, was in the middle of December of 1987. And go long. So that is what I believe is a huge advancement in my timing. Obviously, it's hard to get this pattern, right? It's hard to go to the casino and hit the right pattern, right, and have all the sevens line up. Same here. Like this doesn't happen very often. So with such a high hit rate, we have the opportunity of a huge crash in the market into the end of October 27th. So so that's what I think is going to happen. I think we have extremely high risk in the markets. I think you could see the VIX explode to massive upside. You know, I'm not a financial professional. I could be off, right? You could say, well, I think your model should have picked the 10th instead of the 27th. You could be right, right? So I'm just giving you my best understanding. I'm mapping this out myself, right? It's by hand, it's manually. It's not a computer. The computer didn't draw this, I drew it, right? So you could say, well, your graph could be off, blah, blah, blah. You have human error. And that's why I have to use short-term models to try to also work that into. So that's a valid point, valid argument by anyone. And again, I think there's going to be a monster peak in the markets around Super Bowl of 2028. And I think that's where interest rates are going to hit some major macro low in around Christmas of 2027, early 2028. And then I think markets will sell off for maybe 6, 7, 8 months in 2028. And then we hit a final macro peak in markets at the end of 2030, and then we have a Great Depression start 2031 through 2033. Let's move on to the pricing and short-term models. So this is my short-term model. It's my 5-minute model. And essentially, it's calling out a Jaws pattern, which is a giant attack on the market on 1027. What happens is the trend forms underneath the horizontal line, like a shark swims under the surface. And then the maximum amount of pain to markets will be delivered on October 27th, give or take a little bit. And obviously I'm trying to find other ways to demonstrate that. You can see the purple wave going out to that roughly as well. And then you can see the red wave as well, my Homer Simpson wave also timing out to there. So I think that there's going to be a major bottom in markets again around 1027 plus or minus. So all right, let's move on to the pricing targets. This was one of the original ways that I looked for macro busts in the markets, is finding a 1, 2, 3, 4 count. Actually, that's what I developed like or over a decade ago. That's one of my first primitive ways of timing the markets. I found that when it created the structure, you'd find a crash in the market. You can see that the graph hasn't even broken in this model, so it's like a week or so old before the crash in the market. But it's predicting a crash, as you can tell. At least that's how I explain it, right? Maybe you can't tell because you're not familiar with it, but it was predicting a crash into the end of October through the gold waves tabletop pattern here. Let's move on to the pricing table projection. This is my pricing theorem table, and the way that the structure of markets was around the 10th and the 13th, how it gapped really hard and all that. I believe there's two ways that I can use my pricing calculation, or multiple ways, I guess, but 2 ways really stand out to me. And to the left, you'll have the conservative pricing target of about 6,300. And then to the right, I used a more aggressive approach, and that came out with, you know, slightly lower numbers. But what I find interesting here is that 60-10 is called out by both models. So the price estimate targets are clustering or intersect at 60 or 6,000, right? So I would not be surprised. It would not shock me if the futures hit 6,000 around October 27th. Now, right now, the SPX 500 USD is trading at 6677. So just under 6,700. So it's a big call, right? It's over a 10% drop in markets to be fulfilled, for this pricing projection to be fulfilled. But the morning of October 10th, if you remember, I said on my blog that with updating the values for the macro view, we were looking at the most conservative target was 6,500, and that's exactly where we hit on the futures. By end of day, after close, the futures keep trading, right? And that's where they went all the way down to 6,500 to close out for the day. So I find that very interesting. So my target for October 27th, obviously, is a conservative estimate from 6,200 to 6,300, given by the first target there on each side, and then with a, I should say a consensus target of both models at 6,000. That's where they intersect or cluster. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Barry Schultz, SP 500. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the VIX rockets, right? All right, I'm excited about this. Excited to see my first Einstein advanced geometric timing theorem play out here. I really like the structure on that. Obviously, it's something that doesn't really require a lot of technical skill, just ability to draw, make sure it syncs well, and pass back testing. But it's pattern recognition, right? It's not so much analyzing markets or studying moving averages. It's just simply getting out a ruler and a pencil and drawing trends, and that's what I love about it. I always wanted to use shapes to try to predict the market. And as always, here on BR Schultz SP 500, historical data predicts the future. If you love my work, please feel free to, you can always donate at my PayPal link or Venmo or Cash App, whatever you find in the previous videos. In the first quarter, I had all those. And then after the fourth quarter, I made my big blunder. I made a bad mistake in April. And I've really tried to study markets, try to understand them more. Like my friend said, Einstein always encouraged people to be curious. And he said that Einstein noted that he wasn't more intelligent than people, he was more curious than most. So hopefully that is maybe what I'm becoming, is more curious than I was in the past. So hopefully I'll become more curious over time. And yeah. So anyways, my downside target is 6,000. And hopefully we see the culmination of all these new advancements in my theorems, in my understanding of markets. Lord Jesus has been so kind to allow me to understand pricing a little bit more. And I was so shocked that I hit 6,500 right on 1010. Just amazing that my price target would hit dead on, right? Just shocked by it. I think my target on my website was like 6,480, so around that 6,500, and that's, man, hit that spot on. So I wouldn't be shocked, and I would be shocked if we hit 6,000 spot on for by the end of day October 27th, or just around there. Until next time, I'm BR Schultz, SP 500. If you want to donate to my GoFundMe, that's where I'm trying to raise $750,000 by the end of 2034 with extremely accurate stock market timing. So please share my work if you'd be so kind. And if you're Elon Musk or a wealthy millionaire out there, and you want to donate a big chunk of change over time, you see my work is extremely accurate. You really enjoy my work. I'd encourage you to consider it. I would really enjoy a ginormous gift of 100 grand or more, or 340 grand. That's my favorite numbers are 340, 430, 77, 34, 43, things like that. Anything that adds up to 7 or is 7. Yeah, so I'm trying to raise $750,000 by the end of 2034 with an interest in my work, obviously my work, and also I just found out I can do brokerage link at the very beginning of October with my 401k, so I've just switched over to that. I went all in short at the very beginning of October, so I've done that, triple leverage short, and my 401k, trying to really play the angles going into the end of 2030. I want to pay off my house and everything. So if you're wondering what that is, I have tons of daycare costs. I have 7 kids altogether, so lots of daycare costs, lots of car costs, everything else, just like everyone else in the world, right? So I'm not an ivory tower guy that sits around just mulling the stock market all the time. No, I have to live out my faith. I have to, be in the lives of my kids a lot, be an active dad, right? A loving dad. So that's what my goal is. So I try to live that out. So if you think that I'm just someone that sits around, looks at numbers all day, and lives in some little glass bubble, that's not the case. I get dirty. I drive my kids to daycare every morning, pick them up every night. I actually have 3 little babies at the moment. A 4-year-old, a 1.5-year-old, and a 5-month-old, 6-month-old, 7-month-old, so to speak, 5 to 7-month-old. So I have three kids that I'm lugging around to daycare every morning. So I am in the grind in the trenches with everyone else, trying to preach the gospel, follow Christ, and do my best to predict the stock market. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're enjoying that journey. And thank you so much for following. We only have like 6 or 7 trading days until this prediction comes true. So I'm so excited to see if the first live run of the Einstein's advanced geometric timing theorem plays out as I see it. And again, if you go back and look at that chart, you can only line up those hits at certain points in the graph, right? So it's kind of like the casino. Like you may spin the wheel 2,000 times or 700 times, but you don't get a jackpot, right? It's kind of like that, right? You have to have all the points touch. You have to have a super high hit sequence in the Einstein model in order to set up such a crash that's coming, what I believe is going to be on October 27th, plus or minus a little bit. I'm not a licensed professional by any means. That's why it says forecast used only for entertainment purposes. I always heartily encourage everyone to speak with a licensed financial professional prior to any investing. That's why the disclaimers are all over this presentation and every presentation. So speak with 2 or 3 financial licensed professionals, and then speak with a 4th just to make sure you've covered all your bases. Thank you so much, but I think there's a lot of high risk going into the 27th. And my hope is that I can get better with my short-term models and provide everyone with a lot more frequent updates on where the short-term trading is. So that's kind of my goal moving forward. Thank you so much for following. I'm B.R. Schultz, SP500. Solus Christus to all my brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ alone around the world. And my favorite Bible verse is 1 John 4:10. Until next time, take care. And if you want a challenge, read the book Release the Power of Prayer by George Mueller. It's about a 140-page read. If you haven't read it, please do. It changed my life. It truly did. In one of the darkest times in my life. For 2 years, I went through very dark times. In that book, seriously, I wouldn't recommend the book unless it changed my life. Thank you so much. Until next time, take care. As of, let's see here, on October 3rd, I saw that a few people donated on my GoFundMe page. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Huge target, obviously, huge goal. But you got to throw out huge goals every now and then just for fun, right? You never know. But every gift means the world to me. It truly does. I'm thankful for it. And I leave it in the Lord's hands. If He wants to get me up to $750,000 by the end of 2034, hopefully my work earns it, right? I want to operate at such a level where my salary is worth more than the New York stock market hedge funds and the Connecticut hedge funds, right? I want my work to speak for itself. I want my work to outpace and dunk over all the competition, like Michael Jordan played against his competitors back in the day. But essentially, I want that to be that's where I'm going to hold myself to that standard, right? So I'm really excited about this new pricing theorem that I've applied, that I've learned, that I feel like the Lord has been gracious to teach me, because I don't think that you can really understand mysteries in the stock market that are extremely accurate unless God Himself is merciful to you, and after years and years and years of prayer, shows such mercy. Like was it Daniel who could decipher dreams? or was it also Joseph? So I believe that that's the only way that that's going to really happen, is if God Himself has mercy on you and grants such wisdom. So that's my hope. And obviously, if it is, then maybe He'll also provide the provision with such accuracy, right? I want the accuracy to be there. I don't want it to be out of pity or anything else like that, right? I don't want the public to think, oh, people just pity him. No, I don't want that to be at all. I want it to be because my work is top level, right? Far beyond the levels of my competition in the space by highly trained professionals and those that have been educated in the field. I want my work to either be at their level or extremely superior to the work and their estimates. So thank you so much for watching me. I'm BR Schultz, SP500. Until next time, take care. All right, so Nightcap here this is Nightcap, and he wants to say a final word on the video. If you're still watching this, you must either really be bored to tears, or maybe you just let this play on forever and you didn't realize that this video was still playing, or you're Nightcap or one of the other kids watching in the future. Nightcap, you have anything you want to say to yourself in the future if you're watching this video?
Don't screw up and make good life choices.
Excellent words of wisdom for yourself. All right, buddy. Thanks for making the tail end of the video. You want to sign off for the evening?
No.
No? All right, buddy.